Hello and welcome back to a very special episode of 10 must-have blueprints for Alpha 8. If you've never played Alpha 8 Experimental and you're coming into the game when the game goes full release Alpha 8, then hopefully this list of blueprints will help you out, because quite a lot has changed since Alpha 7, and especially when it comes to starting out in the game. One of the first things you'll notice when you start the game is that the map looks a bit like this, and it's completely unexplored. They've implemented Fog of War, so this is going to influence this list of blueprints quite heavily. I'm going to make a couple of assumptions in this list as well. I'm going to assume that you have the game set to hard difficulty and that you have spawn limits switched on, which is that you can only spawn things from blueprints onto a base. With those assumptions in mind, one of the first things that you're going to need is something to spawn things on. So I came across this blueprint in the workshop. This is called the HV Pad Mark I, and it's by Hicks, and is simply, very simply, a wooden pad to spawn things on. What also comes is a slight interior, which will keep you warm at night when the temperatures do drop. You'll also be able to very easily expand this. The requirements for it are 335 wood, some silicon, copper and iron, which you can get from bare rocks on the ground dotted around. As you can see, there's one right there, so on and so forth. So this will probably be one of the first things that you'll want to spawn in. It has solar power, so it'll be able to run itself, not that there's really anything to run here, but like I said, you can expand it quite easily. And if you, I mean I didn't here, but if you just drop it into the ground slightly, page down to make things go down a bit, like that, there you go. That'll make it a little bit easier to get on and off of it. So number 2 is the HV motorbike, which is by Rucky. And this is probably one of the cheapest starter HVs that you can get at 90 iron, 84 copper and 68 silicon. Unlocks at level 5, so it's not a level 3 hover machine as some things are out there. But you can get level 5 pretty quick just by killing a few things, harvesting plants and things like that. And this thing is a perfectly formed little scout vessel. And considering it's only got 2 hover engines, is pretty damn stable as well when running through the woods. So that's good. It's got a fridge on board, small cargo box, and it shouldn't be too difficult to modify with a armor locker later as well. Trying to find some rocky terrain to see how it does over hills and stuff, but it seems pretty good. And this sort of early start of the game, given the size of the map, you'll want something that you can get around in pretty quickly, pretty soon. Also in the control panel there's this turbo mode, which turning it off turns off some of the thrusters, which makes it a little bit slower, but if you're just cruising around, that's absolutely fine. And then if you need an extra bit of acceleration, you can turbo mode and it will go nice quicker. So there is some fuel management in this little thing as well, which is fantastic. Now if you're into a bit more saving up and you want a more robust hover vessel that's armed and things like that, then I do recommend the Scarab HST, which is by J. Randall. This thing is easily expandable. It has points in it where you can build it up. So we can see a couple of hard points in there for 2 more Gatling cannons on the front if you want. There's a turret hard point on the top for a Gatling turret as well. Around the back there's plenty of equipment, including a constructor and things like that. But also I noticed there is no armor locker, but you know, it should be relatively simple to add one there if you want. For me personally, I'd just take these 2 cargo boxes out and put it, or to just take one of these out and put it in there. There would also be a couple of shutter doors here in my mind. That is something easily doable. But the HST, the Scarab HST, is pretty cheap, and it unlocks at level 3, so it unlocks even before the motorbike. but it is quite a bit more expensive. Also, one other thing that you'll want to consider is the detector. So Elyon introduced the detector, which I'm trying to find. There it is. The detector allows you to, well, it updates your minimap with certain possible locations of deposits and stuff like that. Neither of these come with a detector, but again, it would be quite easily just to stick one on the Scarab here. Just like that. And then as you drive around the Scarab with your new radar dish, you'll see in the top right corner that my radar is got red stuff all over it basically. And if I head towards the red highlights, I'll discover something. Could be a POI, could be a deposit. But you're going to want that fairly soonish. And that is a level 5 thing as well. So you'll have the Scarab, if that's the HV of choice for you. Fairly early on from level 3 you'll be able to get around quite easily. You'll have plenty of storage and you'll be armed, and then as soon as you hit level 5 you can add that detector to it and it'll be easier to find things on this ginormous map. The Scarab HST by J. Randall. There are a couple of bases that I recommend for starting out. You're going to want a base fairly early on. Some people choose to simply expand the wreckage if they're playing through the Robinson protocol. But if you did want to spawn in a blueprint base early on, then the home castle L3 is unlockable from level 3. And also doesn't cost a lot. And it looks great as well. It's got solar panels all the way around, as you can see. Placing them on I placed it on an east-facing trajectory, but if you want maximum effect, place it on a south or north-facing trajectory, and you'll get these solar panels more efficiently used. The home castle costs as little as 1,500 stone dust, 400 silicon, some wood planks, etc., etc. This is all achievable within the starting area. Let's head inside. We have a wood floor. We have points for grow plots. I'd probably get rid of all of these fridges actually and just have the one food processor to start off with. So we've got some power saving in here. We've got constructors. Everything seems to have its own switches on it to turn it on and off. Some storage, the usual. And it's a good space to expand to. We've got a couple of pads out here for spawning things on as well. So if you wanted to wait and get yourself a proper base straight away instead of spawning in the HV pad, this would work. You could do that. And there's plenty of room upstairs as well for expanding further. The home castle L3, there is also an L10 out there, which comes with some extra stuff. But that is by Rucky. All blueprints are linked down below in the video description. Go check them out, subscribe, and have them for yourself. Number 5 on my list is the Nightshade-MkIII-Adv, or Advanced for short. This is a very, very cheap warp-capable SV, sorry. I used it recently in my single-player Let's Play because it was able to get me 2 planets that had neodymium on them. It is, I mean, there's probably a cheaper one out there, but it is one of the cheapest warp-capable SVs I have seen in the workshop. It is obviously created by me, so I am completely and utterly, shamelessly promoting my own stuff here. But the Nightshade-MkIII, like its predecessors, the Mark II and the B, is armed with just 2 Gatling cannons, can be very easily upgraded. Considering the extra weight, there is a lot more thrusters on it to make it as maneuverable as its predecessors, given its obviously slightly chunkier dimensions. But it's got all the same Nightshade hallmarks. It's fast, maneuverable, it's cheap, and it's OP. It's just overpowered, you know. So Nightshade-MkIII ADV, or Advanced, created by myself, linked down below on the video description. Enjoy. Warp capable SV, one of the first things you'll need in order to go get neodymium. One of the other bases that you can save up for if you want to spawn in a blueprint base is the Whetstone Early Survival Base, and that is by XCaliber on the workshop, again linked below. What I love about this, let me just come out of God mode a second. Ow. Oh, I broke my leg. When you do spawn it in, just try and spawn it in while pointing to the south. And you see at the bottom there, there's like the highlights, the sort of hazard warnings. When you spawn it in, you have to lower it using page down on your keyboard until you can't see them anymore. Okay, and then spawn that in. And spawn it on again on a south or north facing trajectory so that your solar panels can be as effective as possible. So let's head inside with my broken leg. So what we got is we've got some space for some grow plots, which is fantastic. I love the look of this place inside as well. It is great looking, and you get little things like this where he's tucked in cargo boxes into the floor that are accessible on both sides, in and out. I think that's a great idea. You've got a clone chamber in here, fridges, food processors, constructors in here, armor locker, everything you're going to need, and it is expandable as well. You've got roof access to an SV pad here. Why these turrets are trying to shoot stuff. But yeah, I mean, I haven't even put any fuel in it, and the solar panels are already powering it, so that's good. Yeah, roof access for an SV. You've got side access on both sides to a pad. There's expansion possibilities for a repair bay here. We go around the back here. There is also a very nice little space for a furnace. You might need to just dig the ground out a bit, but you can fit a furnace in here. The only criticism I have about this place is about the number of fridges that are in here. Fridges use power. I'd probably just ditch all of these fridges, and I'd move these 2 food processors just down into these corners here. That's something very easy to do yourselves. Other than that, everything's great. I love the way that things are tucked into the floor, like these cargo boxes, constructors tucked away here, and these cargo boxes that are accessible from inside and out, especially if you're working or building an SV, HV out here. You can have all your stuff readily available there. I think that's just a very nice touch. So that is the Whetstone early survival base. What also you should know about the Whetstone is that there is a whole series collection of it on the workshop. So I've put the links for those down below as well. XCaliber has the Whetstone early survival collection with a bunch of expansion modules. He also has an early survival collection which includes a whole bunch of SVs, HVs, and all sorts of things like that. Anyway, so that is the Whetstone early survival base. A little bit more expensive than the home castle, but not by much. If we compare the two, let me just, where's that other one gone? It's down a bit. There it is. So that's 1500 stone dust. Whetstone is 2000 stone dust. But home castle requires wood planks. It's not really a thing, to be honest. Wood planks are so easy to come by. So yeah, if you can save up a bit more stone dust, I would recommend the Whetstone over the castle personally. But both are very good choices, and they both look good. Number 7 on my list here is the Drill PUP-MUT multi-tool. This is also by XCaliber and is one of the ones available in the early survival collection here. What really drew me to this one is you know, there's plenty of drillers and hover vessels out there. They're kind of a bit of a muchness now, and very much down to personal taste and preference. But I found this one, and I just thought it was something different and quite special. It has omnidirectional, or bidirectional, I should say, cockpits. So you can drive it that way, and you can drive it that way. What I also like about this is it has a radar dish on it. You've got external access to storage, constructors, the harvester boxes. It's armed with minigun turrets, has a passenger seat, and I was just quite impressed with how how they managed to fit everything in here. And one of the new additions to Alpha 8 as well, let me just get rid of that debug information, that is a medic station. I can give myself first aid in a hover vessel. So I really like that. I really like the efficiency of how everything was fitting in on this thing, how it all, yeah, and it just looks great as well. So that's why I'm bringing this one in. There are surely probably maybe better drillers out there, but this thing just seemed so different. I'm going to see now how it does actually drill through this Promethean deposit over here. Now, the Promethean, I need to have my ore scanner on me. Start seeing some of these blue blobs. Seems pretty good. Seems pretty stable so far. I mean, no hover driller is actually stable in this game. They're all a bit insane. There we go. That's pretty good. I mean, I'm not getting stuck. It's not completely flipping out any which way. This current version of Alpha 8, the external cameras are kind of broken, a bit rubbish, so I've been favouring internal cameras at the moment, and this choice of cockpit is really good. I can see very clearly. It seems pretty good. And if you get yourself stuck in a hole, you can always just hop out of this cockpit, jump into the other one, and drive yourself out. And that's pretty awesome. That's why I like this. Brilliant. And also you got a harvester on the front you can go and tear down some trees with. And you got some Gatling cannons. I haven't put any ammo in them, but if I had, I could go and shoot some drones down with them. And the Gatling cannons on. Yeah, you get the idea. It's pretty bloody good. So there you go. That is the Drill PUP-MUT multi-tool by XCaliber. Link down below. Enjoy. Next on my list at number 8 is the Nomad ST, also by Jay Randall, who did the Scarab earlier. So the Nomad ST is a CV. It unlocks at level 10, so you can get it at the same time as that hover driller thing that I was just testing. It is, you know, for almost 5,000 iron, neodymium, but there's no super rares in there. The hardest to get there would be the neodymium, which hopefully you can get from a short warp drum in an SV. But for the first CV, it's a good choice. You've got some nice signal logic here. It looks pretty awesome. What I like about the exterior is you've got turret hard points. You've got weapon hard points for mounted weapons that you can upgrade with. Aesthetically, it's very nice. I like the design. It looks good. For a starter CV, you can't really get much better equipped than this for the price. Nice landing pad on the back, and I love the size of this hangar bay. Considering the size of the CV from the outside, you go into this hangar bay and it is like the TARDIS. I don't understand how it's so big. It just doesn't make sense. You see what I mean? But you got a nice expansion point here for a repair bay when you can get it. You've got constructors and storage and all the usual mod cons that you need in this hangar bay, and it's big enough for a decent sized HV, SV, and a few more on top of that as well. You got fridges and food processor armor lockers over there, and this is front entrance with some nice signal logic that lowers the ramp. Let me pump some fuel into this thing. There we go. Yeah, we got some LCD screens with some directions on it. I mean, it doesn't take very long to find your way around here anyway. We head on up to the first level. We've got a very reasonable sized garden. And if you're still using the whetstone base, this is obviously quite a significant upgrade in terms of food production. And this is the bridge. You've got the nice new command chair, which you can actually control the ship from. It's not just decorative. Again, armor lockers, storage, O2 in here. And if we head back, I just love as well, that's the warp drive. Did you even notice that coming in? I didn't. It's there, it's on the ceiling. So very clever use of space. If we head up again, and then we've got access to the SV pad on the roof. And all of that, and it costs The 54 grow plots might take a little while to produce. Like I said, the Neo might require an SV warp jump to the next system. But as your first CV, that's pretty damn good. I like it. That's the Nomad ST by J. Randall. There is a Nomad XT as well, which is higher level, so just watch out for that. Link again down below. Enjoy. The further you get into the game, obviously, the less precious resources get, and the more opportunities you have, the more options you have in terms of what you spawn in. So I find with SVs, it's really subjective and down to personal sort of opinion on which SV you prefer. However, this one that I'm about to show you is just one that stood out to me and I really liked. It's got an asymmetric design, it's got a story behind it, and it's just different from what I usually see. So this is the SV Rigger. I'll just fill that with some fuel. The SV Rigger version 1 by Nay_Palm, or as he probably wants it pronounced, Napalm. It's quite a cheap SV, all things considering, but it does require Estrum Zirconium, which is why it's unlock level 20, so it's quite a high level SV. What I like about this rigger is it's just quite a bit different. I'm always a fan of asymmetrical designs and ships with a bit of a story. So the general story of this thing is it's just a salvaged SV from parts that you've managed to scavenge over years. So it's a proper scavenger SV. And it really does... What am I doing? It really does look the part. Because you've got just all this sort of... the piping and the truss blocks and the walkway blocks. Just give it... It does just give it a sort of hobbled together look. And I really like that. Now, it's obviously very, very PvE. It would not survive in any kind of player-in-player engagement. You've got exposed fuel tanks. You've got exposed thrusters. It uses half blocks everywhere. But I just like the general design, and I just thought it was different. And it's not particularly necessarily one that you must have, but I just wanted to bring it to your attention because I liked it. It was pretty cool. Admittedly, if you stand here for too long, you will get radiation poisoning. But hopefully you won't decide that that's where you want to stand. But that was it, really. It flies pretty well. It's certainly not slow, considering it doesn't have a huge amount of drag. And if you're just going to be using it for taking out drones and POIs, I'm sure it will perform absolutely fine as well. Like I said, SVs are very subjective, down to personal taste, and there's so many on the workshop. No doubt there are plenty out there that are just I haven't seen and that are awesome and need plenty of attention and stuff as well. I could have brought a load of other SVs in it that were also very impressive on the workshop, but a bit like the Whetstone series, they've already been given, you know, very many sort of showcases and reviews on the workshop already. So I wanted to bring that one to you guys because I don't think you might not have seen it. So that's the SV Rigger V1 by Napalm. Link below. Enjoy. Okay, number 10 for me is a CV called the Mighty Digger, unlock level 25. So this is proper late game stuff. One of the other additions to Alpha 8 is that you can have a drills, not just a drill turret, but drills on CVs now. There are 5 mounted on the front of this thing. What I really like about this thing is just how unbelievably cheap it is for a CV, and it is tiny. Size class 1, it's armed with 3 turrets. It's very small, and it's not particularly well protected. So the interior is literally just that. That's it. There's the door out. And there's the interior. Pretty good, right? We've got harvester boxes, ammo boxes, armor locker, and a fridge for some foodages. The only thing I would say is just be careful about where you stand in here, because if you're going too far to the right, or subsequently too far to the left, you will quickly burn, because that is basically right next to these thrusters out here. So you can really only stay in the middle on the inside. But the reason I have included this in the 10 must-have blueprints list is because it is just so easy to build on. to expand is what I mean. You can modify this so easily. You can see where you got all these truss blocks around these cargo boxes. You would take these thrusters off and you could just expand it back and turn it into a much bigger CV very easily. But if you want to get out and start mining the asteroids as soon as possible, then this is a very cheap, quick way of getting up in space and getting these drills to work. And because actually the drills don't have a huge amount of range, the small, nimble profile of this ship makes it perfect for digging into asteroids, which it seems to do really rather well. And so I'm willing to look past the flaws in its interior design and that it might actually kill you through heat stroke, because, well, you can get into asteroids with it. And now this will start a whole new phase of building for the builders on the workshop on how to build the smallest, sort of nimblest drill CV that you can get away with. And this one, the Mighty Digger, is a good start. So there we go. That's the Mighty Digger. That is by the Tactician. And again, as always, link below in the video description. Enjoy! So there we have it. There is my list of 10 must-have blueprints that'll set you up for Alpha 8. Let me know in the comments what you think, whether you agree, disagree, whether I've completely and utterly missed an amazing blueprint that is way better than any of these. It'd be really interested to get your views, feedbacks, and any other blueprints that you think are going to really help people out for starting out in Alpha 8. But thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed, and consider giving it a thumbs up if you did, and if you absolutely hated it, then by all means give it a thumbs down. And as always, hit that subscribe button for more videos on Empyrion from me, Spanj. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Until then, take care. Bye bye.